Last week I ventured to Nintendo's San Francisco office for a chance to play a near-final version of Paper Mario Sticker Star for the Nintendo 3DS. And play it I did for nearly 3 hours, covering the entire first world of the game and a little bit more. Although we've already posted a video preview, I thought I'd sit down with fellow game explainer Thomas Arnold to discuss the game's mechanics more in depth, such as its sticker-based combat system, as well as delve deeper into my thoughts on the game itself. So sit back and relax as we discuss everything Paper Mario Sticker Star. Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. This time we're talking about Paper Mario Sticker Star, which I got to play 3 hours of last week at Nintendo. We're joined by Tom Arnold, who's actually going to be the host for this segment, because it'd be kind of weird if I were asking myself questions. So, how's it going, Tom?
Pretty good. How are you today, Andre?
I'm doing alright, getting ready for my trip to Disneyland.
Oh.
Alright, so I guess I'll hand the reins over to you, Tom. Let's take this bad boy away and go ahead and ask me whatever you want about Paper Mario Sticker Star, and hopefully we'll offer some informed context or, ideas about the game.
Alright, thanks, Andre. I'll try to stick to Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I might go to other Mario RPGs. Now, 3 hours is a pretty long time for a game, although admittedly for an RPG, it's a bit less than what you might think. Now, these 3 hours, did it start out from the very beginning?
Yeah, I got to play the game from the very beginning. I saw the intro, I played through the opening segment. I mean, everything I saw was from the beginning. So I got to play through, I guess we'll have to dive into this too. It might be another question. I got to play through basically the first whole world. Which if it were a different Paper Mario, it would basically be the first chapter, I think. But it's done a little bit differently this time.
So, was there a time limit, or did they just see how far you're getting in and just stop you at the end of the chapter, or the end of the first world?
Kind of both. There wasn't really a time limit. The appointments were actually originally for 50 minutes, but they would just let you stay there as long as you wanted, basically. So I just kept playing until they made me stop, and that was at the end of World 1. So basically, once I finished the boss in World 1, that's when they called it quits. I did get to see a little bit of Worlds 2 and 3, just a little bit, from what they showed me in addition to what I played. But yeah, it was basically just World 1 and they stopped me after the boss.
So you're saying there's a bit of a preview too, and by stopping you, they had to bring in 2 giant enforcers to wrestle a 3DS off of you.
Right, exactly. I tried running out of the door with their 3DS and Paper Mario, and that didn't go too well for me.
Alright. How much of these first 3 hours have we already seen in different sort of preview videos?
That's a really good question. So actually a lot of what they've shown off so far has been from those first few hours. They've also shown off a lot not from them as well. But in the trailers we see a few sequences at what's happening at the Sticker Star Festival, which is where Bowser attacks and steals the Sticker Star. And then it splits into 6 pieces, and you have to go find them. And you also see segments of the town too, where you see like the Toad folks stuck to walls with Bowser tape or Bowser stickers, and that's all from like the very beginning of the game. Then you also see a few segments in the game where you collect real world items like a fan, and then you can turn that into a sticker, and then use that sticker to activate a fan in the world to solve a puzzle. So the puzzle I saw was like there's this giant stuck windmill, and you have to activate you have to plant the sticker star in to plant the fan star in the environment, which causes a giant fan to rise up in the background and blows, which causes the windmill to start turning, allowing you to reach a door that the blades were blocking previously. That's from the very first level, I believe, and then they also show a Goomba boss fight in the trailers, which is the final boss fight for World 1. So yeah, basically a lot of what we've seen is from that first area, including the PAX demo as well. Was, I believe, just the Toad Town segment, which is where you start off at.
Okay, so it's not like your analysis video where it's like, okay, this is world 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can extrapolate that, and this is probably what the last boss is like. So it's maybe a bit more than what we think is what you're saying, right?
Well, no, it actually is pretty similar to what I said. Actually, I was actually surprised how right on I was on in those analysis videos. I was a little bit off on what order the worlds take place in, because if I remember correctly,
health.
Yeah, right. I went by health. In this case, World 1 is the plains, which leads into the mountains, which is where you fight the Goomba. So that's all the same world.
Yeah.
And then I believe World 2 was a desert, and World 3 was the forest. Whereas I pegged them as a bit later in the game, the analysis. But a lot of the other things I say in the analysis were right on, like the toads being stuck to the buildings they have to rescue.
Yeah.
And yeah, among other things, which I'm sure we'll get to later on.
So you have to rescue them, or you choose to? Sort of like a good and evil thing.
No, there's no morality choices here. In fact, you have to rescue them in order to move on.
Okay.
Because I actually had trouble finding a few that the Nintendo rep had to help me with. Which just because I like to think I found them eventually, but at the time we thought it was gonna be a short demo, so they wanted me to get going through the rest of the game.
Right.
But yeah, you have to go find them all. Some of them are hidden in pretty good places, like under doormats and in garbage bins. Because everything in this game is like not just papery like previous Paper Mario's, like there's stickers too, and so they've been stuck. Or actually, I take that back. I think they still are paper, but like they take it to the next level. So where the paper like they can actually get rolled up into things. And so yeah, you'll find toads like just crunched up in like these little balls of paper in garbage bins that you have to go rescue. So
that's good. They're taking it to the next step. I remember in one of them, Paper Mario could turn into an airplane, for instance, but you just sort of see those in limited circumstances. Now, with the stickers, like the giant fan sticker, do you find that they have a lot of those, or is it only very limited?
No, I think I encountered at least 4 items during my 3 hours. So you do come across them pretty often. Off the top of my head, I came across the giant fan. I came across the faucet, which was seen in the analysis video, which actually popped, and in the trailer, of course. And that actually popped up a lot sooner than I also thought it did in the video. Then I came across a cat statue and a pair of scissors.
That cat statue I saw, that's just like the lucky cat or whatever.
Correct, yeah. And it was just like a reward a random toad basically gave me for finding him, if I remember correctly.
Alright. Now, I think this is an important question that people want to know. Are you able to control more than one character?
No, you can't. Not really. So in battle, it's always just Mario. Aside from, well, mostly. So the whole game is based around using stickers now. So the battle concept's totally different. You're no longer choosing your attacks from a preset menu. Now you're choosing your attacks from the stickers you found in the environment. Each sticker is good for one attack. Now some of those stickers actually do spawn helper creatures. Now, I don't think I actually really saw any of those myself, but the Nintendo rep was telling me, like, there's one for Bob-ombs, where you can summon a Bob-omb and, he'll go take out the enemies. But that's really, that's all, it's just part of the move. So yeah, there aren't any proper partners like there were in previous games where you have an assistant the entire time. Now, however, though, you will still occasionally find people in the overworld that will follow you from time to time. Like, I found a Toad, for instance, I had to escort back to town. And if I got hit by an enemy, he would get scared or run back to the starting location, so I had to go get him again. But he wouldn't actually appear in battle at all. So...
Oh. So, would you say that's kind of maybe a step back in the series? Or is the game deep enough with the stickers that it's a deeper gameplay experience?
I mean, that's hard to say. Even with the 3 hours of gameplay, it's still hard to say. I will say, it was something I was concerned about, but I really love the battle aspects of previous Paper Marios. I just love the how simple it was, but how much depth there was still to it. And I was very concerned about that, because I like the whole leveling up thing, and there's no leveling up anymore at all in this, by the way.
What?
Yeah, so you don't get any experience at all anymore. Now everything's based around, like, helping other people, and they will reward you with, like, HP ups or something. Now, get back to the battle, though. I actually really liked it. I actually thought it worked really well. It felt different. It's still simple enough to hop into, but there's still a lot of depth there. Because, because it's still, like I said, it's based on choosing a sticker at a time. So each sticker does its own attack. And once you use a sticker, it's gone. Which means if you don't manage your inventory right, you can run out of stickers. No.
Then you're just sitting there like, hey,
yeah.
I guess I'll just stand here.
Yeah, what's up, guys? You can run from battle, though, like in previous Paper Marios. Now, what's cool, though, what is a really neat aspect of the game is coins are a huge factor in battles now. And that's because you can spend the coins you find on, I forget what they call it. I should have looked this up. It's basically like a coin. It's basically like a roulette block you can start, and you can spend something like 10 coins at first to start the roulette block. And if you match 2 items, then if you match 2 of the 3 items on the roulette block, then that means you can use 2 attacks instead of 1 at a time. And if you match all 3, then you can use 3 attacks at a time. And you can actually spend more coins if you want in order to lock 2 of those rolling roulette items into together. That way you're guaranteed at least another hit. So you can use 2 items at a time, which basically means you can queue up attacks. So you kind of have to plan ahead. Basically, you have to plan who you're attacking and what kind of move you're doing. As a quick example, the Super Leaf powers up your next attack, if I remember correctly, or powers up your subsequent attacks, which means you'd want to use that first before you use your second attack. Otherwise, you're not getting the full benefit of that attack turn, if that makes sense.
Okay, so this would be a really good strategy for a boss. That's what you like.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are attacks that can for instance, there's some enemies that have like pointy heads, or like spikes on them, like the I think bony beetles. I don't think I saw bony beetles, but using that as an example, or like a boss that has a spike on its head. You can't jump on them because that hurts you. Because apparently, Mario doesn't like spikes. However, if you use a POW block beforehand as your first attack, it'll often cause the enemies to crumple together, like into like a little pile of paper, and then you can jump on them. So,
all right. Now, with the boss, for instance, is he able to do multiple attacks in a row?
That is a great question. I don't think I ever saw that. If enemies are, I don't think. I mean, it's not through the same method you do. I think where there's a roulette block. And I don't think I saw any. No, I don't think I saw any enemies do subsequent, multiple attacks. However, there are, you will often encounter multiple enemies at a time in battle, and they just take turns doing attacks. So in that sense, yeah, they can do multiple attacks.
Might be a bit unfair if you came across 3 guys and they could all do multiple attacks.
Yeah,
probably throw down the 3DS and walk away at that point.
Exactly.
So getting back to the town. Is it a pretty big town, or just sort of like a little few houses? What size of a town are we talking about?
It's smaller than any previous Paper Mario. It's smaller than any previous major town in a Paper Mario game, which I know is going to disappoint some people, and actually kind of disappoints me now that I think about it. If I remember correctly, the town has maybe 3 or 4 screens. And the first screen is simply the Sticker Fest Festival, which is destroyed, so there's not much there. What's cool though is as you play through the game, the Toads actually start rebuilding that Sticker Festival. So when you go back as you progress through the game, you can actually see they're cleaning up the area, which is pretty cool. The next screen is basically just a residential area with maybe 3 or 4 houses you can go into and talk to a few Toads, but there's not much to do there. On the third screen, that's where things really start to open up. There's a lot more to do there. There's like an item shop. And then there's a sticker museum, which you have to find a secret. Access to by finding a secret toad, and you can plant any sticker you found in that museum. It's kind of like Animal Crossing, where you find when you find things, you can donate to the museum. And same thing here. So if you donate a sticker, you lose it. You have to go find it again. And apparently, there's a reward at the end of the game for finding every sticker. And there is a ton of stickers, but it's broken up into at least 10 hallways, probably even more, across 2 different floors. I think it might actually be 20 hallways. And inside each hallway, there's like, I don't know, like 5 to 10 sticker spots. So there is a lot to plant there.
This sounds like that Wind Waker photo challenge.
Oh god, I don't remember that, but yeah, probably right.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I forgot to mention. Then on the there's one more screen where you have the guy that you can he runs a little shop, and you can take the real world items you found and then give them to him, and he'll turn them into stickers for you. So,
all right, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Now, a big thing about the Mario RPG series is the humor that's sort of in there, particularly in Mario and Luigi series. Do you find the writing is sort of more humorous and like geared for all ages, so even adults can find it funny, or is it sort of more set back?
No, the humor is definitely at least as prevalent as it's been before. The writing, right away, like I was laughing as soon as the game started. The writing is just fantastic as it has been in previous games. I'm trying to remember offhand of any examples, but like your helper character, Kirsty, who's like a sticker fairy who you meet up with right away. Yeah. She's like a huge jerk at first. Like she blames Mario for causing the whole chaos of the sticker fest, but then she's blaming you, not realizing you're Mario, and then she's like, I'll bet Mario could solve this, even though you're standing right there. And the whole game is just super clever. They make sticker jokes and paper puns. Paper puns. That's some alliteration. They do that throughout the entire 3 hours I saw, and I still like it's kind of cheesy at points, but I love it. It's really funny. So
yeah, we can only imagine how many times they say sticky situation.
Yeah, probably a fair amount.
Okay, well that's great news. That's one of my favorite parts of the Paper Mario or any Mario RPG series, really. Mm-hmm. Now, in the story of the game, it's about the sticker festival being destroyed, and can you confirm it was by Bowser? Do you see Bowser wreaking havoc in an intro or anything?
Yeah, he actually just drops on in, and he tries to steal the sticker star, and I think I'm calling it the right thing. Yeah, I think it's a sticker star, and it basically evolves into like a tug of war between him and the Toads, I think, and so that thing it ends up getting ripped to shreds, and then he decides to kidnap Peach for the hell of it, and
that was going to be my next question. He's like, well, might as well. I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically when your story starts, So like, the sticker star is destroyed. You have to go find all 6 pieces, and rescue Peach at the same time. So,
oh great,
yep.
And speaking of other characters, does Luigi make any appearances?
Yeah, there's no sign of any other major Mario character besides the Toads, of course, so far. I didn't see. There's no Luigi yet. And which I'm hoping he appears, because he was in A Thousand Year Door, and he was in the first Paper Mario as well. And he's been in all the Paper Mario, so I'm guessing he probably shows up at some point. I'm hoping, but there's been no sign of him yet, so maybe not. And I didn't see Yoshi either. Even though there's a Yoshi Sphinx in the desert, which I didn't personally see this time, but you can see in the trailer. So I'm hoping he shows up too. But again, no sign of either of them.
Okay, and going back to that desert area, I remember in one of your analysis videos, like, they have a freaking mariachi Shy Guy band. Do we see more different takes on characters like that?
The mariachi Shy Guy was by far nothing quite like the mariachi. Because you have a whole host of like standard Mario enemies. You got your Goombas, you got your Koopa Troopas, your Buzzy Beetles. The Shy Guy Mariachi is probably the one enemy I can recall offhand that really switched things up. Yeah. And in the trailers, we always see them, I believe, attacking in groups of 3. What I didn't realize is you can also encounter them just by themselves. And it's actually really cool how they do this. So you'll like find them on the world, you know, when you're exploring the world, just like every other enemy. But they actually don't chase you. Like they won't try and attack. They just like chill out in their corner, strumming their instrument. And the closer you get, the faster they start strumming. Like they start off strumming like you know, just general notes at first, and then they actually start playing a song when you get closer. Now you can attack them if you want, and you may want to because if you don't attack him, and if another enemy attacks you, the shy guy actually rolls up, like he attacks you at that time during battle. And he'll hang out in the back playing a song, which like invigorates the other enemies, like you know, give them HP up or make them stronger. So you basically want to take out those shy guys, you know, as soon as you can during battle, because they, you know, they constantly help the other enemies. So it's a kind of neat dynamic. It's like, should I battle the shy guy, you know, now, or should I just hope I don't get attacked so he won't bother me? So
yeah. That just sounded like a Cool Bits episode in 10 years.
Yes, exactly.
All right, well, that's a pretty interesting dynamic there. So going back to the sort of battles, talking about them. Now, there's different things, like in the past, can you jump on enemies or sort of get the jump on them before in the overworld map? I believe you could do that.
Yeah, so besides the whole sticker thing, you know, in battles and the roulette coin thing, it's very similar to previous Paper Marios. Yeah, the time attacks are still there, so you can still initiate battles from the world map by, like, you know, jumping or hammering an enemy, and then the time attacks are back as well. So like if you time your jump right, you can keep jumping on the enemy over and over. And it's actually really important this time. I mean, it's always been important, but this time, not only does it do more damage, but you also get coins each time you do it. And that, you know, and as I mentioned, coins are super important during battle now, because you can just burn through those coins really fast if you use that coin roulette block a lot. So you want to get as many as possible. And on top of that, if you jump on the Koopa Troopa in the world map, in battle you'll, you know, of course, jump on them there as well, and you'll turn into a Koopa shell. Which means in your next turn, you can jump on them again, and it'll kick the shell into the other enemies. And that's something I forgot to mention too. So now all the enemies always appear in a line. They always appear, like, you know, behind one another, just at different elevations. So when you kick that Koopa shell, it's going to go through all of them and inflict damage on all of them. And if you can manage to take every enemy out in your first turn before everyone else attacks, then you get a perfect bonus, which just gives you a whole bunch of, like, a whole bunch of coins typically, or a whole bunch of stickers or something like that.
So you mean the enemies are, like, in a line straight ahead of you? They aren't sort of spread across, like, normally in an RPG you sort of see them from top to bottom, but you're saying they're just sort of left to right?
Well, yeah, basically, if we're viewed from a 2D perspective, yeah, that'd basically be it. But the battle's from, like, you know, 3/4 perspective. Yeah. But yeah, they're all the enemies are behind one another, so...
Oh. It's kind of weird. You could see that just having battles with one huge guy in front later on, and maybe two guys with projectiles that pepper you with attacks later on. But...
Right, yeah.
Or do they actually rotate through, though, or do they just always stand in the same spot?
From what I remember, from what I saw, it was static, I believe. I don't think they switch positions. But you can still... But your different attacks can target different enemies. So I believe, like, the hammer attacks, you know, that you can only target the closest enemy, because you can't get behind an enemy to hammer another enemy. But I believe, like, other attacks, like if you use a fire flower, that'll target, you know, every enemy, I believe. Like the fireballs just go through them all. So it's, yeah, you have to think, you know, constantly in what order you want to use your stickers in order to how best to take down these enemies.
Oh, so they do have fireballs. That's a pretty dangerous weapon in a paper world.
Yeah, I'm surprised Mario's even messing with that, actually. Yeah, it's a good point.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Precisely.
Alright. Now, we were talking about characters earlier, and you had mentioned that Bowser Jr. is in the game. Does Bowser Jr. add to the game or ruin it?
Yeah, because God knows I'm not a Bowser Jr. fan. Especially now that we learn that he's Bowser's only kid, and the Koopa kids aren't even his kids anymore. So Bowser Jr.
be the other way around?
I know, right? Bowser Jr. is just screwing up the entire Mario, backstory.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bowser Jr. You know, he actually works pretty well in this game. Like it's kind of got to. I think since Mario Galaxy, I've come to terms with him. Like I'm okay as long as he's not presented in that annoying Mario Sunshine context where he thinks Peach is his mom.
Oh god!
But this time you encounter him actually super early. There's no hint of him, I believe, during the opening sequence. But in the first level, I think, or first or second level, you encounter him, and he's in the Koopa car, the clown car, flying around, and then he steals a freaking bridge. He's like, "Hey Mario, you want to cross this bridge? Oh, too bad, I'm stealing it." And then you have to go find a bridge somewhere else and bring it back so you can cross that area. Now that's the only. I think I'm trying to remember if I battled him too. I can't remember. I just remember you don't see a whole lot of him in the first few hours. You just see him, once or twice, and then I'm sure he'll pop up throughout the game though. Probably once per chapter or something, or once per world or something like that. So.
Just create mischief, make it a bit harder for you to go on.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Okay, well, that's pretty good news, I guess. Now, in previous Mario RPGs, we've had different giant enemies come in, and Bowser has sort of joined your side. Does anything like that happen in this game?
Like having baddies help you throughout the journey, or
yeah.
Not yet. Not that I saw. I'm thinking. I mean, aside from having you get stickers like a Koopa shell they can kick into enemies, or I think the bombs as I mentioned before. I can't think of any instances offhand of enemies helping you out. Even in the town, I didn't recall seeing any. I think it was just toads in the town, so you don't even get some friendly Goombas running a store or something so far. Now there are various outposts throughout the game, which are basically like mini towns, and I only got to see one of them, which was like a seaside type thing, basically a pier, and there were more toads there. But I'm guessing it's possible that later in the game you come across a town or an outpost that has a greater variety of non-toads, if you will.
Okay. I guess there could be other characters and toads in a Mario game, but
nonsense.
How about a Toad Brigade? Have you seen one of those?
No, sadly, no Toad Brigades yet.
Oh no! Now, of course, this is a 3DS game. Is there a 3D effect in the game, or has Nintendo forgotten about it?
Right, because New Super Mario Bros. 2, as I mentioned in the review, didn't really even feel 3D. It's more like, yeah, this game's barely 3D. We don't really care about it anymore. I was surprised actually how good the 3D effect is in Sticker Star. It's got that a really deep 3D effect, which has been missing from a lot of recent first-party Nintendo 3DS games.
Yeah.
And yeah, it actually looked really good. It really brings to focus, how flat the characters are in the game compared to the environments, because they're totally flat, and then you're exploring these 3D worlds. Yeah, it looked really good. A very deep sense of 3D, and it really stood out too when it went to basically whenever there's a title card in the game, like introducing a character or something important. It's very 2D actually, except with a very slight 3D effect on the character, popping out of the screen, and it was just a very subtle, really, really neat thing that just kind of reminds you that you're playing a very paperized environment or game. So,
all right, so it adds to it.
Yeah, I would say it actually added to it. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it actually does add to the experience.
Okay. Now, I guess, we're starting to run on time a bit here, but just compared to other Mario RPGs, do you feel like this one is going to be up there with your favorites from what you've played?
Oh man, that is so hard to say.
I'm putting you on the spot.
You are. Based on what I've played, I don't think... Again, it's hard to tell for the first few hours, but based on what I've played so far, I don't think it'll be my favorite. I do think it'll be better than Super Paper Mario, which I didn't like. Which I didn't like as much, but I don't think it'll compare to the first two Paper Marios, which I really, really liked. The biggest thing so far is because the game's broken up into worlds now. There's even that world map now, which you used to go from level to level. It's basically broken up into like, you know, World 1-1, World 1-2, etc.
Yeah, the levels. So does that whole setup take away from the game a bit instead of just wandering around a giant Mushroom Kingdom world? Or?
You know, it's weird. I don't know if it itself takes away from it, but it definitely made it feel different, which isn't necessarily a negative thing. But I think it did make the game feel a little bit more linear, which is weird because according to my Nintendo rep, the game actually opens up later on. There's actually different routes you can take in the game. In fact, it's very similar to like Mario World in some respects, in that on the world map, some levels have a different icon, indicating it has multiple exits. You can actually take like an alternate route to the World 1 boss, which I didn't see, and you know, that involves different levels. The thing is though, like overall, the story seems a little bit weaker, a little bit simpler here now, because you're basically like just going from point to point collecting things, which, you know, was the case in previous Paper Marios too. But in previous Paper Marios, there was always like some, you know, like some unifying mystery for each chapter, some unifying cause you needed to help. And this time there's really none of that, at least in the first world. Basically, you start off in Toad Town, you help the Toads there, and then you roll out to go find your first sticker piece, you know, or, you know, first sticker star piece. And that's it. You know, you encounter a couple characters along the way, but there's no mystery, no really cool cast of characters you come across, aside from the initial Toad Town. Now, things could change, but yeah, based on what I've seen so far, the whole story is a little bit simpler, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna end up liking that more, so...
Do we know who the developer is of this one? Like,
yeah, it's oh god, it's Infinite Systems, I think. Is that what they're called?
Intelligent Systems.
Intelligent System. Thank you. God, yeah, Intelligent Systems. Yeah, so it's the same developer as the previous ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of the Paper Marios.
Yes. Right. Correct.
So not like Alpha Dream, I believe it was, who did Mario and Luigi. Or?
Right. So yeah, it's the same developers as all the previous Paper Marios.
Okay. It's like, oh, we just gave it to Nintendo EAD Tokyo. It's like, yes!
Dude, I would take any game from them.
Yeah. Alright, now we do have... So as mentioned, you know, the stickers, but in the gameplay. Is there anything else that's new for the gameplay in Sticker Star?
Well, yeah, so I mentioned it before. So the whole game is built around using stickers now. That even extends to when you're exploring the world. So you'll often come across a puzzle in the game that you need to plant that you have to use a sticker for in order to solve. For example, in one of the trailers they show a toad. I think in one of the trailers they show a toad whose flower garden got blown away by that real world fan I mentioned earlier. Yeah. And you can help him out actually by entering. I think it's called Paperize mode. And this is where the world turns into...
Whoa. Paperized mode?
I know, can you believe it? Can you fathom that?
I thought they're already in paper. Wouldn't it be like an anti-paper mode? Like a real mode?
This is like Inception, dude. We're talking like Inception levels of paperization here. Okay. So in this mode, basically the landscape turns totally flat, and then you control Mario, and you can move them around and plant stickers in certain spots on the landscape. So in this case, you see like 3 spots where the flowers were, that you can plant flower stickers, like a fire flower sticker. You'll actually make the toad happy. Or you'll make him happier for each flower sticker you plant. And then you'll be rewarded with like more stickers if you completely solve his problem. And that pops up throughout the game. Like for instance, if you come across like a tree stump that looks a little bit out of place and enter sticker mode, you'll see there's a spot you can plant a sticker just above the tree stump, and if you do that, it'll spawn a question block, which if you hit it, it'll like give you a reward of some kind, like a sticker or something. So yeah, that factors into the game in a major way. There's puzzles all over you have to solve using stickers. I'm trying to think of other things that are new. Of course, you know there's the world map I mentioned.
Yeah.
And then the battles. Besides from that, the core gameplay, when you're exploring the world, feels pretty similar. There are some 2D segments now, which reminded me of Super Paper Mario. So like I went underground at a point, and it felt like very much like a classic Mario. I'm running back and forth, except the battles are still Paper Mario battles, but it felt more old school Mario, which is kind of neat. And yeah, that's basically it. I can't really call anything else offhand that was like earth-shattering for a Paper Mario game. So,
Right. Any mini games or anything like that in Paper Mario other than that roulette sort of wheel?
No mini games from what I recall yet. I don't think. Now I'm trying to think though back on other Paper Marios. And I don't think they had a ton of mini games either. So, yeah. So nothing that I saw.
Okay. Hey, just to wind this down, do you have any closing comments on your outlook for Paper Mario Sticker Star?
You know, I'm actually really excited for it now. I mean, I was excited for it before, but I was concerned about the battle system. I wasn't sure if it was going to take away from the whole leveling up and then, you know, just the enjoyment from the simple but deep, you know, relatively deep combat system of the original. And I actually really liked what I saw. The battle system works great. The humor in the game is fantastic. The script is super sharp, and the gameplay is just really tight. I'm actually really looking forward to it. Even if the story may not be quite up to previous Paper Mario standards, I think the core gameplay will be at least as good as the previous ones, from what I saw. So I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll hopefully have, you know, a review up in, you know, well, not terribly soon, but in the next few weeks or so. So stay tuned for that.
So. Yeah, when does the game come out? They've announced an exact day at this point, right?
You're putting me on the spot here. I think it's November 17th, and a quick check of our website confirms that I'm wrong. It's actually November 11th. So yeah, it'll come out on November 11th, and I think it's the only major 3DS title this year, or from Nintendo this year, or for the end of the year.
End of the year, yeah. It's the one to get.
Yeah, because it's that, then bam, Wii U. So
yeah, that'd be funny. 17th thing. Go and get your Wii U and Paper Mario 2.
Oh, exactly. All right, guys. So thanks for watching our sticker Mario, Paper Mario, Sticker Star, our Paper Mario, our stickerized Paper Mario, paperized thing. All right, yeah. Thanks for watching our discussion video, guys. Stay tuned to GameXplain.com for much more on the game and other things gaming too. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
Thank you.
And thank you for hosting.
No problem.
All right. Bye.